Washington, for yielding me such time. And Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong support of House Joint Resolution 66. This measure is a sign of how we can all work together on foreign policy when we put our minds to it. I want to acknowledge the bipartisan support for human rights in Burma, both here in the House as well as in the Senate. The Burmese Freedom and Democracy Act and the Burmese Jade Act together have prevented hundreds of millions of dollars from getting into the hands of the Burmese military apparatus. By passing these bills into law and renewing them this year, we have ensured that 65 million people of Burma see us, the United States, as an ally in their struggle for human rights. And we have helped send a signal to others around the world that the United States will not turn a blind eye to crimes against humanity. There is no question that Burma is ruled by one of the world's most brutal governments. Over the past year, we have seen ongoing abuses committed by the Burmese military, including rapes, torture, and killings. Just last week, Human Rights Watch released a report documenting how villagers are subjected to summary executions, torture, and being used as human shields during conflict. And women in Burma live in constant fear of rapes by soldiers of their own military. For the leaders of the Burmese military, rape is a tactic of war, one used to torment and to intimidate entire populations, not just their immediate victims. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, on July 5th, the Burmese soldiers carried out 4 more rapes against ethnic civilians. The innocent victims were of all different ages, and one of those victims was as young as 12 years of age. That's right, a 12-year-old girl was raped by a member of the Burmese military. As a result of thousands of brutal rapes and other abuses, Burmese villagers continue to flee their homes into the jungle, where they live as refugees or internally displaced people. As bad as these abuses are, this bill is not only about stopping human rights abuses. We must remember that the inspiration for this measure came from the remarkable woman, Nobel Peace Prize recipient Aung San Suu Kyi. She led her political party to victory in Burma's last free and fair election in 1990. Many people call her the Nelson Mandela of Burma, and the U.S. House of Representatives voted to award her the Congressional Gold Medal. Up until last November, she was also the world's only imprisoned Nobel Peace Prize recipient. And today, even though she is no longer under formal house arrest, the military has threatened her over and over again in an attempt to intimidate her into silence. She has called on the people throughout the world to take action, saying, and I quote, "Please use your liberty to promote ours," end quote. She and the democracy movement in Burma have also called for us to maintain sanctions on Burma. This is similar to how the African National Congress, led by Nelson Mandela, called for sanctions on South Africa in the 1980s. Passing this bill isn't all we must do. I want to urge the administration to fully implement the Burmese Freedom and Democracy Act and block Burmese Jade Act. The Jade Act gives the administration tools to implement tough bilateral financial sanctions on members of the Burmese regime and its cronies, and we should proceed as soon as possible. It's important to remember that the United States isn't the only country that has imposed sanctions on Burma. This is not a bilateral effort, it is a multilateral effort. While every country has different types of sanctions, those include Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the European Union, and more. We should be doing all we can to expand these sanctions into an even greater multilateral effort. That's why in the Burmese Jade Act, we asked the President to appoint an envoy to work internationally on increasing pressure on the Burmese regime. Now that this envoy has been nominated, I urge our colleagues in the Senate to confirm him without haste, and I hope he gets to work right away on strengthening and implementing multilateral pressure. I also believe the administration should work proactively to establish an international investigation into crimes against humanity committed by the Burmese military. The Burmese leadership is clearly carrying out crimes against humanity. The sooner these abuses are investigated, the sooner they will end. Mr. Speaker, this bill is the right thing to do. I stand in strong support of this bill, and I urge its immediate adoption, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back.